this show on the road. Hey, April, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday. You are such a trooper, April. Good heavens. Hey, everybody, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us this Saturday for a very special version of our webinar Wednesday. Good, I can see it. Poor April. She's juggling kids basketball tournaments all over the place. Her son just won the championship, the Catholic school championship there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How happy is he for that?
Oh, the smile is ear to ear.
Yeah, that's great. And your daughter's in the playoffs, and she's winning a major award tonight for like being
She is
the nicest
sportsmanship.
person on the planet. And your son and your husband is sick in bed with the worst flu ever.
Yes, true story.
Yeah, so April's going through typical mom stuff right
I have
now.
wine. I have wine waiting in the fridge for later.
Oh, good. Well, we're so thrilled you folks are joining us today. I love it when we do these Saturday webinars. I'm never ready quite. It's not with. I'm just straight back from the gym because I'm not going to change my schedule. I still have to go work out, but I'm back from the gym, and we're going to be talking Evernote today. We're looking forward to it. Today's webinar, I wanted to make. When I thought about doing this, we've covered Evernote from so many angles, and I realized so many of you have tried Evernote, but it's disappointed you in one way or the other, or you've ended up being disappointed because you haven't embraced it. So I thought, why do some of us like get it and have Evernote really change how we do things, and other people kind of lose it? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the things that make it really work for you. So this is Evernote's second chance for so many of you. We'll keep it to, we might even be a little bit less than an hour. I'm aiming for like 50 minutes here, respecting your Saturday. I see you all saying hello, Troy and Sarah and John. Oh man, people from all over. We've got 400 people already, just about 400 people in the room. These Saturday webinars are awesome. They are
They
awesome.
are. It kind of makes me think that everybody here is a workaholic of some sort.
Well, a lot of people just can't join us on work days, at work. It's that they don't have the bandwidth, or they have to work, they have to do other things. So we're so thrilled that you're joining us. So this is going to be a typical webinar format that we have here on Dottotech. We're going to welcome you, chat a little bit, make sure everybody's set up and all comfortable. Then we're going to move in. I pre-recorded a shorter video than normal. It's about a 16-minute video today. If you're here expecting me to teach you how to use Evernote today, that's not what this webinar is about. It's about why Evernote works for us. We've got some great resources that we'll share with you that will teach you how to get started in Evernote and start to use Evernote. Those of you who haven't taken yet our Evernote Quick Start, we'll be sharing that guide with you. But it's less kind of how to than why and what today in the webinar. So I've got about a 16-minute video that walks through the why Evernote works for me and what I think the main reasons that it may work for you. And then we've got time for a lot of Q&A at the end. So it's going to be hopefully a nicely interactive webinar today. If anybody has any technical issues, we're using Webinar Jams. Things seem to be rocking along pretty good. I'm checking my feed here. It looks all good on this side. If you have any issues, there's a reconnect button at the top. If that doesn't work, reload your browser. If that doesn't work, try a different browser with the original link that we sent you, the registration letter. And also, if you have to run away for any reason or anything like that, don't worry. We're going to send out a webinar replay a couple of hours after today, including we've got an offer for you. We're going to be letting you know we're going to be selling and promoting our Evernote Made Easy course at the end, and we've got a special offer that's always available, but that you might not know about, that we'll be filling you in on. So we'll give you all of that feedback. So John said, great topic. I've not really integrated Evernote into my daily workflow. So many haven't. And I'm going to start things off with a poll before we begin. I've got a poll ready to go here. And the poll is whether or not if you've tried Evernote. And I'm going to display the results at the end. There we go. So let me know. It should be appearing in your chat right now. Have you tried Evernote? And yes, and you use it a lot, or no, you've not used it yet, but you've tried it, but you don't use it. And I suspect that a lot of you are not using it as much as you think you should if you're here, or that you've tried it. And a lot of people just don't get it right at the beginning. And I think I know the reason. I'm not going to, that is the payoff. That's like all of the drama today is why don't we end up using it? I will tell you why I think, my theory as to why people do not use Evernote a lot. Look at that, nice split. About half and half right now. Oh, you can't see the results. I can see the results and you can't.
I can see them too.
You can, but we're special because we are administrators of this particular webinar. and they all are not. So you're supposed to get like snow this week?
Oh, we're supposed to get anywhere from 6 to 10 inches tonight, overnight.
Good. We're supposed to get snow here in Vancouver too this coming week. San Diego can't come soon enough. Next week on Monday, Monday, I go down San Diego for Social Media Marketing World. So it'll be nice and sunny. I'm looking forward to that. You're not coming this year, are you?
I'm not. I'm going to Barbados March 8th.
That's not bad. And you're going, and here's the Valentine's. Those of you who joined us on Valentine's Day on Wednesday will know that April actually got the best Valentine's present, I think, of any of us. Tell us what you got.
I am going to Billy Joel at Fenway Park this summer. So that was a nice surprise.
That's going to be an amazing concert.
Even my 17-year-old was jealous of that one.
Yeah, that'll be a great concert. Okay, we've got, the numbers aren't changing too much, so I'm going to end the polls and let you all see the results. So 51% of you use Evernote a lot. Awesome. That's like 225 people. 9% haven't used it yet, and 40% have tried it but don't use it. This is going to be valuable for everybody, but especially you 40% that have tried it but don't use it. We're going to see if we're going to see if it's worth having a second look at Evernote. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to jump in. I'm going to push the video out to you. It's a short one today. It's about a 16-minute video that I pre-recorded last night, which is what Evernote does for me and the reasons it's worth a second look and just what it can bring to the table. And then we're going to have Q&A when we come out the other side. Does that sound good? It should, because that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's talk about the Evernote habit. So something a little bit different for this pre-recorded. It's Friday evening, just a few hours before we're delivering this webinar live. I'm just back from the gym. And rather than have Evernote all prepackaged and have a slideshow and have it all fancy and presentation style to talk to you about Evernote, which I think many of you have been through before with us, and certainly we have lots of other resources where we'll walk through step by step what Evernote does. I'm just going to spend some time with you and take you through my Evernote habit, why Evernote works for me. The whole idea, kind of the theme behind this particular delivery, is this is for the webinar for people who have tried Evernote out but never really caught on. So you know a little bit about it, but it never caught on. So why didn't it? Maybe it's not the right product for you, but I suspect it's because you overthought things. You probably tried to create some sort of structure around Evernote, and it just seemed like too much, and it wasn't the right time for it. So I'm going to share with you why I'm so passionate about Evernote, but I'm also going to show it to you raw and unplugged. This is my account. So when we go to screens, you're going to see Evernote exactly as it is Friday evening at the end of a work week with me, and you're going to see how I use it. And it's not always the pristine and perfect, presentation of perfect graphics and screens that we show you in our videos. Evernote for me is my digital bank account. It's where I store all of my information, and sometimes it's organized. Most often it's chaos. But out of the chaos that's in Evernote, because of the way Evernote works and the way I implement Evernote, comes order. I'm able to draw order out of all the chaos of Evernote. So it only happens and it only works because I've made Evernote my habit. If you go into my account right now, let's just take a quick look. I'm going to go in and I'm going to scroll through all of my notes. And we've got obviously these notes that I'm working on, which I'm working through right now, speaking points that I'm going to be talking to you about. But we've got my link library, which is all of the links that I share in all of social for whatever I'm working on. There's scripts that I'm working on, preparing for upcoming videos for YouTube. There's a screenshot of a piece of software that I was dealing with their technical support on, trying to show them what was the status of my account. There's a copy of an email that we just sent out. There are clippings of comments that people have made on YouTube that I use as little jokes that I post on Facebook. There is more emails. There's a screenshot of our Thinkific account that I used as a backdrop in a course that we just delivered. There is tickets, Air Canada tickets for flights home for my kids to come home for my wedding. There's notes for speaking engagements. There's all these different notes. And so there doesn't seem to be a lot of order to it, does there? And if I had to scroll through and look for the things that I was looking for when I needed them in this mess, it wouldn't be a very effective tool. And also, Evernote wouldn't be an effective tool for me if I had to create file and folder structures so that everything was nice and neatly organized, and so that I put everything in its place and everything had its place, because I'm not that sort of person. You're probably not that sort of person. So, how does Evernote work? In this chaos, how does it end up working for me? Well, it all starts with the fact that Evernote is, as I say, it's my digital bank account. When I explain it to people, this is, I think, the best metaphor. Just like a real bank account, the more that we invest in, the more that we store in our bank account, the more that we put money in, the more value that bank account has. And when we will draw it out is when we have the reward on what we've invested and what we've put in. But unlike money, we're constantly stumbling across useful bits of information, things that are interesting, things that are worth saving, things that might be worth saving, things that are essential, things that are curious. And we like to retain that. Part of the nature of the way that we've changed as consumers of information in this computer age is we have the ability to store this information, and it comes to us from a variety of different channels, from email, from web browsing, from social media. All of these different channels bring information to us, some of which we want to retain. So we can rely on our brain to retain much of it and remember kind of what it was, the general gist of what it is that we found. But then we need some sort of structure to store it. So whether it's something that's a curiosity or something that's important for business, we then, once we need to recall it, have to dive into our computer and say, where did I see it? Where did I store it? Is it in an email? Was it an attachment in email? Did I download it? Is it in my downloads folder? Did I save it to Dropbox? Did I copy it and did I just share it with my team in Slack? Did I tweet it out? Where did I find where is that information? So we end up spending an inordinate amount of time looking for these little jewels, these little gems of information that we found, or these very important documents that we found or that we need to work on. We spend time searching for them. And every minute we spend searching is a minute of lost productivity. And I dare say, if you add up just how much time you spent last week looking for stuff, you'd probably be appalled when you think about the lost productivity. I guarantee you it's not less than an hour total time going into email. Is that in my email? No, it's not there. Going somewhere else, looking for stuff. I guarantee you it's not less. So if we can reduce that amount of time to just minutes, because there is only one place for everything. If we can reduce that time to minutes, then the concept of Evernote becomes just so easy. And if not Evernote, OneNote or another note hosting service in document hosting service like an Evernote or a OneNote is. So I mean, I don't really care which one you choose. Obviously, I prefer you choose Evernote because we have a course on Evernote, but that it will just make you so much more productive. And that alone makes the entire venture worthwhile. So I have a process because I've turned Evernote into a habit. Anytime I see anything worth saving, anytime I see anything that I might like to save, time I see something that catches my passing interest, I, with a tremendous amount of discipline, I think, save it to Evernote. And once it's in Evernote, I can find it because of how strong and how powerful Evernote search is. Now, if I then kind of take it to the next level where I actually start adding some structure to my Evernote account, adding tags and notebooks and create a little bit of structure, I'm even further ahead than I would be. But just saving it all in one big massive shoebox that you can then search for information on, that alone makes Evernote incredibly powerful. And this lesson was driven home to me really early on in the process. I think I became an Evernote convert about 2 years after I first used Evernote. And I was still doing the TV show when I was playing with Evernote. And I can still remember I was at dinner with friends and I took a picture of a bottle of wine. And I saved it in Evernote thinking, and I was doing a demo for TV on Evernote. I thought this might be a nice use of this sort of thing. You might start a notebook of wine labels. Now, I never followed up and actually made a notebook of wines that I like, but I did take a picture of one bottle of wine. And then years later, I was talking to somebody about it, and I said, I took a picture of a bottle of wine once. Let me see if I can find it, because it was a good bottle. And I typed in search wine in Evernote. And look at what came up. When I typed in wine, I ended up with this. I've got lots of searches for wine now, but this. A restaurant down the street, Taverna Gorgona. I took a picture, still down the street from where I am now. I took a picture of this bottle of wine. And the thing that just gobstopped me was Evernote had found the word wine in the label. It was an image, it was a photograph. But it had parsed out the word wine. I didn't know Evernote could do this. It had parsed out the word wine, and it delivered back to me what I was looking for. And I went, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I could take a picture of whiteboards. And then I could search on the text later. I could take a picture of my notebook, and I could search on the text within my notebook. I can obviously clippings from the internet or transfer emails over and be able to search on all of those different items that I save and be able to find them in one place. And I'm not going to be looking in my email or looking in my photos or looking in all these other places. But Evernote is the place that I can find them all. That completely blew me away, and that was the beginning of my kind of love affair with Evernote. And love affair might be a little bit strong, but it's Valentine's Day week. Let's go with that. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time right now talking to you about how Evernote works, because we have some great free tutorials. We've got a mini course called the Evernote Quick Start, which I walk you through the process of starting Evernote. It's a 1 hour free tutorial, and it gets you started using Evernote with what I think is the best system. There's a little bit of structure, but it teaches you how to create your first notes, the sort of information to store in Evernote that you might not be thinking about. We even give you a cheat sheet of different things to store. For example, your license plate number. Go around your house and take pictures of the type of light bulbs you have, or the water filter that you have in your fridge, or the furnace filter you have, so that you've got them when you're at the store, because Evernote gives you access to what you need where you need it. And while we save it in a multiple, either on our desktop or our smartphone, we have access to everything in all of those locations. So everything that happens here on my desktop computer also happens in my on my smartphone. So I have access to all of the notes, all of the information. So if I go into my smartphone and I do the same search, I search for wine, it's going to come up with the exact same search results. And if I look down here, probably at the bottom, because it's the oldest note, there it is. There's the exact same image that we just looked at a few moments ago. So the fact that it's on our smartphone and our computer means that we have access to all of our stuff everywhere. I walk you through that process in the Evernote Quick Start. I talk to you about setting up your account, setting up your first notes, and starting to develop the Evernote habit, about how you use your smartphone as an information vacuum cleaner, taking pictures of this, that, and everything and making notes, even audio notes to store in Evernote. I talk about a tool called the Evernote Web Clipper, which allows us to grab images or to grab anything that we can see on our computer screen, from websites to emails, and store them in Evernote so they can be searched and found later. All of that is what we teach you in the Evernote Quick Start. But because you probably took a look at Evernote and didn't engage, it seems to me that the reason often will be, that you overthought things at the beginning. And this is the nature of us. And it comes back to, especially those of us that have used computers for a while. When we first set up a computer and we started to set up a file management system, we recognized that we needed to be able to find files that we stored on our computer. And as we stored more and more and committed more information to our computer, this became a critical aspect of it. But we needed a way to be able to find the files in the future. So we came up with an elaborate system where our computer replicated our office environment, where we had filing cabinets and drawers and a nomenclature for naming everything so that we could find it again later. And this was a massive undertaking to create the organization and structure to be able to find files again in the future. But it was essential. It was essential to create organization out of all of this paper and out of all these documents that we had in the office. So when we suddenly start looking at an organizational system for our computer that's going to store all these bits of information, we're immediately drawn to the fact that we have to create some sort of structure. And we end up, I believe, having analysis paralysis, where we start thinking about, what am I going to, I'm going to have personal notebooks and business notebooks, but then I need some for accounting, and I'm going to need project notebooks, but should I have client notebooks? And you start creating this infrastructure, and you spend more time thinking about the structure than the data that goes in. And all we really want Evernote to do is to save our information for us and let us find it again. When we need it and where we need it. So all of this structure is what we think we need in order to enable Evernote to do that. But in fact, the good news is we don't need to do that. Evernote's search is so powerful that you can start with absolutely no structure. And increasingly, as I teach people to use Evernote, I am more and more inclined to tell them, don't create any notebooks at all at the beginning. In the Evernote Quick Start, I think I tell you to create two, a business and a personal one. I still think that's a good idea, but I'm okay with it if you don't create any notebooks. You just have one inbox where everything appears, and then later on, you might start moving stuff out and sorting it. But if you have stopped or you got paralyzed in the overanalyzing the situation as you were setting up Evernote the first time, that's what stopped you. And you didn't have to. None of us have to stop for that reason, because Evernote has the ability for us to be able to store all of this information and then retrieve it through the very powerful search. So that's really the message. I guess there's two messages here today. Why am I so passionate about Evernote? I'm so passionate about Evernote because it gives me the ability to be far more organized than I ever was before and spend far less time looking for the things that I need to keep my business and my life going than I ever had before. That's why I'm so passionate about it. The features of Evernote that allow that to happen is the ubiquitous nature of Evernote, the fact that it runs on all of our platforms, my smartphone, my tablet, my computer. It's cloud-based, so it's all stored on the internet. So all of those devices gain access to the exact same files when they look for them. It's got incredibly powerful collection tools. The Evernote web Clipper, which I show you in the Evernote Quick Start, using the phone, your smartphone's camera and microphone to collect information, as well as just gathering snippets of information, just similar to the web Clipper, just saving documents on your smartphone, means that everything you have, any screen you have, can be a capture device for information that you then store in Evernote, and then Evernote's ability to retrieve that information and deliver it back to you. Once you start thinking along that line and you just start developing the Evernote habit where anything that's important you save to Evernote, what'll happen is you'll start looking in Evernote as the first place to look for everything. And at the beginning, no, you won't find everything in Evernote because you've got stuff scattered all over the place now. It's not like it's magically all going to get sucked into Evernote. You have to keep putting things in Evernote. But increasingly over time, all of that current data that you've wanted to store will be in Evernote, and you're going to start to realize the benefits of it very quickly over time. And then before you know it, Evernote will be the habit. It will be where all of your content is. And as a result of it's the place that you look for your content all the time. It's also where you think to store your content all of the time. And then you're well on the road. And whatever techniques you want to do at that point there, and however much you want to pour back into Evernote, creating structure and creating systems within Evernote, that is up to you. We'll help you with that, but that is up to you. The bottom line is Evernote can save you probably the minimum of an hour a week right now, growing into even more value as we go along. And that's the message that I wanted to share with you guys today. So what I want to do now is I want to jump and take as many of your questions as I can for the rest of our hour. All right, we are back as I'm sitting here half asleep.
Half asleep?
No, I was answering questions and I was listening to it on the feed, which has got a delay of about 15 or 20 seconds, so that I realized that I was already back. And everybody was looking at me typing a response to Chris, who was commenting that he thought OneNote looked better. And OneNote is better if you're living in the Microsoft ecosystem. But I don't think one is better than the other. So that's, sorry about the technical glitches. We've got a lot of people, we've got like 500 and some odd people on this webinar. And I don't know if that's causing a few extra gremlins or just the fact that there's the same percentage of gremlins. There's just a lot of people on the call today, so we've noticed a few. I did have an interruption in my feed coming out, as you all did, at about 7 minutes to go in the video. But when we send out the replay, that'll be all packaged together. I will re-edit that and make sure that it'll all be proper in the replay. The part that you missed there that I was talking about at that point was I was talking about the Evernote Quick Start, which is a free guide that we have. I'll get April to drop a link in. We've got a free guide, which is about a 1-hour mini course that you can sign up for, that I walk you through what I consider to be the fastest way to start with Evernote. And the big part of that is setting up your first notes, figuring out which notes. And I look at things that I call anchor notes, notes that I continually add to, that I want to refer to on an ongoing basis. Things like taking a picture of all of the filters in my house, like the water filter, the furnace filter, so that when I go to the store and I can never remember what model furnace filter I've got it there in Evernote. Those sorts of things. Your partner's sizes. So that come Valentine's Day, if you haven't bought them something and you realize, oh, geez, I got to buy her a ring. What size ring does Shannon wear? Well, I've got it there in Evernote. So all of those sorts of things you can add. And it gets you started. It gets you into that Evernote habit. So that's the part that we missed, but we will be sending that out to you as part of the replay. Now, we're going to get into the Q&A here in just a few minutes, and we've got a ton of questions, so we'll spend a lot of time on that. But before we do that, I'm going to quickly run through just a little bit about the course that we have available, Evernote Made Easy. Several of you have commented, several of you have taken the Evernote course. I want to let you know about that and let you know about how you can get it for half price. A lot of people don't know that we have this incredible opportunity for you and for us through our crowdfunding site, Patreon. So if you are interested in learning the fastest way to learn Evernote and getting in the deep end with Evernote, really, really embracing it and making it work for you, we have a course, which is our most popular course here at Dollar Tech, called Evernote Made Easy. I believe it's the fastest way to learn Evernote, and I think I pat myself on the back on this course a lot because I think I had a stroke of brilliance when I designed the course. I deliver the course to you as a series of 10 shared Evernote notes. You get an email, and in each email has a link that you click. Evernote notes can be hosted on, they are basically just web documents. So I can send them to you as web pages. And so you click on each page, each lesson, you save it into your own Evernote notebook, and you are using Evernote to learn to use Evernote. As I say, a stroke of genius. And people have loved the course. It's so well reviewed. We've put literally thousands of people through the course. So the course itself covers, over the course of 10 days, 10 consecutive emails, starting with the very first email. We give you an introduction, make sure that you have your account set up, answer all the questions, the differences between the different versions of Evernote that you run in your browser, on your desktop, on your smartphone. Then we go into basics, the basic note structure, the anatomy of notes, so you can understand all of the different pieces of Evernote. Now, Evernote is not a tremendously complex tool, but understanding the physical structure of Evernote is going to help you out on the long term. Lesson 3 is all about collecting information, probably the most important lesson in the entire course, because if you turn Evernote into an information vacuum cleaner, you have so many different ways that you can collect information into Evernote, and then you start to rely on Evernote for retrieving that information when you need it. That's the real beginning of that's what your relationship with Evernote is based on, how easy it is to store information in Evernote. And I've seen several of you comment about how much you love the Evernote web clipper. We show you how to use that in this one, and we talk about the power of the Evernote web clipper and the power of Evernote for collecting information. Lesson 4 is Evernote in mobile. I always say, through all of my discussions about Evernote, that Evernote gives you what you need, where you need it, when you need it. And the basis of that is the fact that Evernote is all synced through the cloud to your mobile phone, and you've got access to everything that you saved on your mobile. And your mobile becomes that data input point where you collect information from around the world. Your relationship with Evernote in mobile, if you get how Evernote works in mobile, you get Evernote in your life. So that we cover that in lesson 4. Lesson 5 is advanced note taking, combining your notes, linking notes, creating tables of contents, just managing your Evernote infrastructure more effectively. Evernote, to me, is the heart of my productivity system. Consequently, lesson 6 is super important because Evernote has to integrate with all of our other tools, with our email, with our social apps, it has to integrate with our calendar. All of those different integrations we talk about in lesson 6, how Evernote sits at the heart and everything kind of feeds off of Evernote. Lesson 7, Evernote's collaboration and sharing. Evernote is a brilliant collaboration tool. You can use it we use it to write the scripts for our videos. We use it to plan a lot of our projects. So Evernote has massive power as far as collaboration and sharing goes. We're going to talk about that. Lesson 8 is making the most out of search. The next most important skill after collecting information in Evernote is learning how to find the information once it's there. But it's something that doesn't raise its head till you start to have a lot of information in Evernote, and suddenly search technique becomes more important because your Evernote account starts to become vast as far as the amount of information stored. So you, as you saw when I searched for wine, now I have multiple hits when I'm looking for wine, whereas when I first began, I would only have one or two. So as you get more and more hits for any short tail search, you have to learn how to search more effectively and structure your information a little more effectively. But that's the growth of Evernote. So making the most out of search is lesson 8. Lesson 9 is the boring one, backing up in security. I know there's some questions about security. We'll talk about that in a moment, but we talk about that there. And lesson 10 is building your own personal productivity system. At the end of the day, you're not going to use Evernote the exact same way as I am. None of us use it the exact same because we all have systems in place already that we weave Evernote into. So we talk about how you build your own system and how you layer your own tools and your own techniques on top of Evernote, and use Evernote at the heart of that. So that's the 10-part system that is Evernote Made Easy. You also get access to our private group, our private Facebook group, which has lots of great sharing about Evernote techniques, Evernote news. It's a place that you ask questions and get answers. It's a really vibrant community. The regular price for it is $149, and you can certainly purchase it today. April dropped the link into the browser, into the feed here today. But I do want to let you know, we always fix our pricing on Dottotech. We have a system where we launch our product. We always give a little bit of a discount when we're launching a new product, and then we fix the price for the entire until we refresh the product, with one exception. We are really well supported through our patrons, through people who support Dottotech, provide us monthly. They provide a monthly support to Dottotech, and it keeps things like these webinars going. It keeps all of our content flow going through. And we have over 700 of you that support us on Patreon. And if you're here, a big shout out to you and thank you to all of our patrons. But part of the benefit to our patrons is we've got perks attached to patronage. In Patreon, the patronage it's similar to crowdfunding, like to Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but Patreon is what we use, and it provides crowdfunding for content creators of the sort that we are. And so what happens is people donate a certain amount of money each month. $10 a month is what we ask for, and then that keeps us on the air creating new content. And in return, we give you some perks back, and those perks include free access to all of our Webinar Wednesday archives. Every week on Wednesday, we record a new tutorial webinar of some sort. They aren't sales webinars. They're webinars where we teach something. And we've got 48 of them now that we've done. We do them almost every week. What did we do last year? 46 out of the 54 weeks, I think we did webinars last year. And we're on pace for the same number this year. So you have access to that entire archive. And you also get discounts on our courses. Most importantly, our premium course is at $4.99. Patrons pay $2.50. And Evernote Made Easy, you can get for $74.50 instead of the regular price of $49. So in order to get that discount, you just sign up as a patron at Patreon, and we will I've got it set as an offer. April, if you want to push that through.
Yeah, I can put it in, sure.
Excellent. So if you drop by the Patreon page, you can see what perks are involved, what's involved. But basically, you sign up as a patron. We send you a link, and then you can purchase Evernote Made Easy at half price. And we thank you very much for your ongoing support. We appreciate it immensely. And that is how you can get Evernote Made Easy for half price. And you get our other courses for half price, but you also get access to hours and hours of online training for everything from social media to productivity and all. We've got lots of good stuff in there. So that is the Evernote Made Easy story. Let us now. Oh, Douglas mentioned Patreon is in US dollars. Yes, it is in US dollars. Patreon has been important to me in supporting Steve. I see lots of you are our patrons. We thank you all so much. This is excellent. So let's get into the Q&A because we have 26 minutes before the hour. I think I got more than 26 minutes of questions that I saw. Do you need me to because you had to refresh?
Yeah, I think I can. I have a good amount, and then I'll double check when we're towards the end.
Okay, good. So let's jump into the questions.
All right. First question is from our friend Joe. How to restart an Evernote system? I have a mess of notebooks, tags, etc. How is the best way to clean up for a new start?
I'm not sure I would do a complete new start, Joe, because you've got all of that information in there. I might clear all the tags out so I could start fresh with tags, but just take those existing notebooks, put them all into an archive notebook, and then just move them off to the side. So kind of out of sight, out of mind, but they'll still come up in search. If you find you're getting too many spurious search results, you might want to go back in and you might want to, you might have to apply some structure as you go along. But my first inclination would be to kind of just move them off into a file, like into a notebook on the side, and then start fresh where all your new information comes in clean and fresh. That would be my first inclination, but I don't know how much, the specifics. There's a couple of ways to approach it, but that's one way.
All right. Clinton is asking, can you recommend a way to segregate my old notebooks notes from new ones so I can reboot with a simpler filing system?
Well, you could archive them, and that would probably be the best way to do it, is to archive them. Then you still have them if you need to go back in, but they are, again, separate.
Okay. Larry is saying, oh, no, sorry, that's not a question. I probably, okay. Yeah. Can I see Evernote lists on my iWatch Series 3 cellular?
Yeah, you can get access to Evernote on your iWatch. I've got it. Apple Watch. It's not called an iWatch, it's an Apple Watch.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's not great. It's pretty tiny, but it's there.
All right. You've talked about having a spreadsheet holding all of your ideas and topics for future blog posts or your YouTube videos. Wondering if you keep it in Evernote, and if so, how is the layout? How do you have the layout? That's from Natalie.
It is. I have my anchor notes. I teach I use a technique called anchor notes, which we talk about in Evernote, the Evernote Quick Start. And so I've created, so these notes I save as shortcuts in Evernote, so they're always available to me. And I just it's a stream of consciousness note. Information goes in and I copy and I delete information from it, but I've got it all there in the one note. And whenever I get an idea for any video or any blog, any topic for a webinar, I just put it in there. And then I go to that and I'm constantly adding to that note. It's a living note. It's a living document that's constantly being edited and changed. So it always looks a little bit different. There's not a lot of structure within the note, and it's not being entrenched for posterity. It's a working document that information goes into and out of.
All right. Web clipping on mobile sometimes fails, and I can't find source. How can I stop the web clip fail?
I don't know. It depends which mobile app you have. Now, Evernote had a web clipper for their mobile, which they've dropped. So now in iOS, for example, it just built into the operating system, you can save a note to Evernote. And I haven't found that it ever fails for me. So depending on what operating system you are, making sure that you're just saving to Evernote from it, it hasn't been an issue for me. So if you are using an older version of the operating system with the web clipper, it's not being supported anymore.
All right. Do you store emails in Evernote?
Yes, all the time. It's one of the biggest strengths of it. One of the places we lose most productivity is searching in email for documents that are important. And so I recommend any important documents you never store in email, but you move them to Evernote. There's two ways to send them to Evernote. Evernote has an email address attached to your account. So you can just forward an email that's important that you want to save to Evernote, which creates then a digest in Evernote. And you can demark that so that it goes into a certain notebook that's just for email, for example. That's one way. Or if you use a web-based email tool, which I do, I use Gmail, I can use the Evernote web clipper to clip, and Evernote recognizes when you go in to clip an email that it is an email and saves it in an appropriate format. So yes, always save important email into Evernote.
All right. What are your thoughts on Evernote security?
Evernote security is a huge issue that you are going to have to work your way through. And that's the one thing that might stop some of you from ultimately using Evernote for a completely understandable reason, and a reason that Evernote does not seem to address. The biggest issue, as far as I'm concerned with Evernote security, is the fact that Evernote doesn't give us the ability to encrypt our information unless you encrypt a note at the note level, and it has to be, and at that point there's no way to recover like a password, to password protect it from others. It's like this thermonuclear version of total online encryption or nothing. And it's note by note. It's not notebook by notebook, and it's not by your account. So beyond having normal personal security, making sure you have, say, two-factor authentication turned on, you have good passwords and all of that sort of stuff, Evernote's fine from that perspective, but it doesn't allow us to encrypt our notes to protect the data. That's an issue because some people want to store sensitive information and it's cloud-based. So that is a big stop point. There is the ability, though, within Evernote to choose to have shared and local notebooks. So if you have personal information that you want to have local, say your tax returns, you want to store them in Evernote so you can find them again. If you store them in a local notebook, it's only stored on the computer that it's created on. It's not shared on your other devices. So if you say do it on your desktop computer, you can always get them to your tax returns on your local computer, but you wouldn't be able to access them from your phone because it's not synced through the cloud services. That's a way to approach the security. But security has always been the biggest issue for most of us with Evernote. Not that it's a problem, but it can be a problem when you have higher levels of security required. And the type of information and the volume of information that you can share makes it obviously a concern.
All right. Can you guide through the printing process of a note?
Hit print. I'm not too sure. The formatting in Evernote, you can format Evernote quite a bit for different documents, but it's not its strength. If really nicely formatted printed documents are really important to you, Evernote is not going to be the best tool. In fact, actually, OneNote is amazing from that perspective. It does a beautiful job of formatting documents, but it's not Evernote's strength.
All right. Can you archive Evernote content when it becomes dated?
Yes, absolutely. Without a problem.
Right.
I'm not sure if you can set it up to automatically do, but you certainly can archive it.
All right. Our friend Jan is saying, sounds good, Steve, but here's a question from a skeptical consumer. Do you have a bias? Is Evernote a sponsor of Dotto Tech?
No, I get no money from them. I pay for my account just like everybody else. I do have a bias because I have a course on Evernote that I do make money from, and I do not have a course on OneNote that I make money from. So I do certainly have a bias from that perspective. But I think we're really quite forthcoming. If you live in the Microsoft ecosystem, and OneNote, I think, is the best choice. If you're live in Outlook, if you live in Microsoft Office, I wouldn't recommend people use Evernote if they're in that space. They should be using OneNote. So I don't have a financial interest in Evernote, but I do have a personal interest in you buying one of our courses. Plus, we rank better in search in Google for Evernote than we do for other programs.
All right. What is your biggest mistake you made early on as an Evernote user?
I overthought things. I tried to create too much structure, too many notebooks. They still haunt me to this day.
All right. Jeanette's saying she uses Evernote, but I somehow lost the web clipper. Maybe because Firefox updated. Would that create that to happen?
Could have. You can reinstall it though. It won't be an issue. And it's identical now across all desktop platforms. If we're talking about on your mobile, it's not a supported product anymore. So the Evernote web clipper has gone away from mobile, but you will find it on your desktop.
How do I add a document saved on my laptop to Evernote?
You can just drag it in. You can just literally drag and drop it, or you can import it. There's a variety of different ways. You can clip it in, take a screenshot. You can, import it as you would a normal attachment. Lots of different ways.
I have Evernote, but I lost the symbol on my Chrome browser. How can I restore it? So the Chrome symbol on his browser is lost. How can you restore it?
I'm not too sure.
The extension?
Yeah, I would just reinstall the Chrome extension, make sure that it's properly installed and enabled.
And that's under settings, right? Extensions?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, and you can search it. Question, does one have to have a paid subscription plan to Evernote?
No, you can do most of what we teach in our course actually with the free plan. They're always changing a little bit the exact features with the paid plan. But here's my philosophy on this. Some people think Evernote's expensive. It's $100 a year, I'm not too sure what the current subscription price is. They've got a few different tiers. I think one's $37, one's $57 and $97 or something like that. Anyway, at any rate, I philosophically believe that if you use Evernote the way I use Evernote, you should be paying for a subscription because you want them making money, because it's a tool that I rely on. If Evernote ever went away, that would be one of the biggest negatives. That's my biggest concern, is Evernote struggles financially and something happens. They have to sell, or they have to change, or they go out of business. I don't think that's going to happen, obviously. But I think I help that not happening by providing my financial support for a product that I use and benefit from each and every day. So I think Evernote's free plan is a great way to start. But if you learn to rely on Evernote the way that I do, even if you can still make do with the free plan, I would seriously think about buying one of the premium plans.
Okay, sorry, I was dropping a link in here. Let's see.
Babs Miss Phil's Libin. Yes.
How can I use subtags? I have a gazillion notes.
Yes. Well, you can have tags and then tag categories, and then you can have subtags as well. We cover that. It's something that we can't go through right now, but you can create, some people, there are kind of two philosophies, more than two. You can create structure in Evernote by the titles of your notes, the way that what somebody mentioned earlier, by putting all of the documents in certain notebooks, which allow you to create a kind of almost a physical infrastructure. And then you can also create structure through tags, and tags are attached to notes, and then you can apply multiple tags so that you can search on multiple tags in your search fields to winnow down the results to get to what you finally need. So Evernote is going to search based on the notebook that it's in, the title, the text that it finds within the document, and the tags. So there are a variety of, that's why we do a whole module on search. It's quite sophisticated, the different ways that you can find information, and how you set up your system and how you think is what's going to determine whether or not you use native search. Title search, or structure in notebooks, or searching based on tags. It's going to be your own processing and whatever works most naturally for you. So it's actually a pretty deep topic that we can get into it in great detail. But how we search, how you philosophically think and look at your data is going to determine what's the best metaphor for you to use.
All right. Can you back up all Evernote files to a hard drive to be used in the event of a massive failure at Evernote?
Evernote has an export format that you can export all your documents. Yeah.
All right. When I start Evernote, I get a box with "Please wait while Windows configures Evernote." Is that normal?
I think. I'm not too sure. But I'm not a Windows user, does it seem to work afterwards?
Is there a way to scan, view multiple notes at one time?
Scan. Yeah, well, yeah. Depending on, you've got different preview panes within Evernote, so you can scan through them. I've got a snippet view, so I can see pretty much what's in each of my notes as I scan through. So yes.
All right. I'd be an Evernote newbie if I try it. I've read reviews that say Evernote has become too bloated and isn't as great as it used to be. What are your thoughts? Thanks.
Evernote's constantly going to be trying to add new features, because the nature of our humankind is that we keep demanding new and improved. So it's going to bloat over time. It's never going to. They can't just have a really good app and then leave it as it is, because it will be left behind by all the new features. That's the nature of it. So it's probably not quite as elegant and slick as it used to be, but it's the things that they've added. Some you will find very valuable, some not. For instance, I don't find any value in the Evernote work chat. It's got the ability to have people talking back and forth, and to have to be a communications manager. But we use Slack for that. So there's a whole side of Evernote that we never use as a team, even though I'm an Evernote aficionado. So yes, there are things that are a little bit bloated, but it's as far as I'm concerned, it's a better application than it ever was. So yes, it will have some superficial features. But that's the nature of that. We're going to see that with all software. I noticed a question is if this is the same Evernote course as we delivered in late 2017. Yes, it is. We launched this version. Now, I should make a note to any of you who have, and I didn't mention this when I was talking about the course itself, but anybody who has purchased Evernote Made Easy from us, any of the 3 versions, you're always grandfathered in for free. So if you have you can't find your notes, just drop us an email and we'll send you the notes. Anybody who's ever purchased any of our products, and if you purchase this one here, when we come out with Evernote Made Easy version 4, maybe at the end of this year, you will get access to the new version. That's the way. That's kind of one of the rules here at Dottotech is once you purchased a course, you're grandfathered in for the life of that course.
How do you suggest balancing notebooks versus tags?
I prefer tags. I am a tag person. I think tags are more effective for me. So I have less notebooks and more tags. Some people like more notebooks. If you're a person that likes to see things visually, everything in its place, then notebooks really work for you. If you're a person that just that never really wants to see the mess, but just wants to pull the information out, then tags work really well.
All right. I run a couple of social media accounts. Is Evernote a good way to store photos to use for publicity, social media? Is the resolution, etc., affected?
Sure. Well, it's going to be whatever size it's going to be whatever you attach to the document and whatever you bring in. So yes, it would be a good way to do it. And the bonus would be you would use it by titling each Evernote note that you save. The bonus would be that Evernote also searches within those images. So if you're storing memes, and you're saying, oh, I want the one where the cat says fart. I don't know why that's.
That was so random.
It was so random. That was just. Can we do this question again? But I think it would be good for that. Yes.
Oh, that's funny. Every time I send, you've been hanging out with my 15-year-old.
I am a 15-year-old.
Yes. Every time I sent a note to a person, they always say they can't see the note for some reason. Help! What's the best way to send a note to someone who may not have Evernote?
You have to share the note, and they should be able to see it in their browser. When they click on the link, it should open in a browser. It's the way we send out our course materials. You have to make sure that you set up the note for sharing, and you haven't set it to be private, though.
How do you attach a note to an email?
Just copy. Well, you go under the sharing menu, and you choose share, and it'll generate a link, and that's the link that you paste.
All right. I want to save all receipts that will be charged to the company, but I cannot get the location where the photo is taken on Android, or is it just on iPhone, or is it a setting somewhere?
It does store the same. It does store the geographic information. One of the things they've taken out, which I loved, was a feature called Evernote Atlas, which we should be all telling Evernote to put back in, where you would click on a location and it would bring up all the notes from that location. I love that feature. It was one of the best. But it should be saving the location. I use Evernote Scannable to capture all my receipts, and all the location information gets saved. So you should have it.
All right. Is there a easy way to print notes from an Android device?
Not too sure. It should. As I say, Evernote is not the best printing tool. It doesn't do a beautiful job of formatting and managing page layout. It's okay in HTML layout, just okay. It's not great, but it's not the best printing tool.
All right. So Steve is saying, so far, the only message I'm getting here is to avoid the complex tagging and filing available in Evernote by ignoring it and relying on search. What about those of us that prefer not to have the kind of chaos? Is there a way for those of us who don't like chaos to get into this?
Yes. The genesis of this webinar was people who looked at Evernote but didn't get into Evernote. And I say that one of the biggest reasons is that there was too much structure that they tried to apply at the beginning, and it became an overwhelming task for them to set all of the structure in place. So they backed away from Evernote and they never went down that path. But if you're the sort of person that does take on those challenges, that wants to organize Evernote completely, there are a lot of different ways for you to get into using Evernote and to create all of the structure that you want. Certainly our Evernote Made Easy course will walk you through that. Even our Evernote Quick Start will start you on the path, but then you can take that and then you can run with it as far as you want, adding more structure. I'm just in this narrative today trying to make things easy for people who don't want to apply all of that structure. But you can certainly approach Evernote from a very organized, very methodical perspective as well.
Our friend Bradford is just saying, heads up, the iOS X public share is currently broken. It's a known issue by Evernote. So I'm
there's those issues, because I noticed I have had a couple of note sharing snafus in the last little while. Good.
Giselle wants to know what version of Evernote you use and what did you start with?
Well, I have the premium, the top premium version, whatever the most expensive one is, the personal version, not a business or multi-user. So that's the one. And I started with the free. And then once the premium came out, I bought it. Or no, once I started to use it a lot more, I bought premium, and I haven't looked back. It's just I just renew it automatically.
All right. For client work, is the best time for a note for client work? Best time for a note to see it all together. So I think the question is this. So when you have client work, is this the best way to use a notebook to see it all together? Like, is it real time?
You could share it. I wouldn't necessarily use Evernote as a whiteboard with a client as I'm working. I keep my notes. Like if I'm doing a call with I've got a speaking engagement booked, and I've got to do notes on what I'm going to be talking about, and I'm on with the organizers. I just open an Evernote note, name it whatever is appropriate for that speaking gig, and then I keep all of the notes in it, and then I keep going back and referring to that as we go on. But that's not a sort of note that I would share and work in real time. Evernote is okay for collaborative documents. It's kind of okay. I think it's best for asynchronous collaborative documents. So, for example, I share it with Sophia, who does our writing. So I'll start a note, and we'll be working on scripts. And so she'll go back and forth into that note with me and make changes and make additions and that sort of stuff. But if we're writing a real blog post and we're writing copy for the website, I at that point there prefer working in a tool like Google Docs, because it's much more real time as far as that goes. So it works from some collaboration points of view, but it's not a catch-all for everything.
Does Evernote pick up handwritten words?
Yeah. It's within reason, but I've got pretty poor writing, and it catches all of mine. So one way one fantastic use of Evernote is for journalers, people that write all the time, so and keep notebooks. And if you can get to the discipline of capturing and using a tool maybe like Scannable or just the Evernote camera itself, and once a week or even every evening, capturing the notes that you took in your notebook, and then it'll date stamp them, you save them all in a journal, then it becomes searchable over time. And think about a wall of like 15 notebooks in the back thinking, oh, there was I took notes about that last year. We were doing it. What was happening? And you start looking through. That's the time you spend searching. Now, sometimes it's fun kind of going on that voyage of discovery. But if you've got them all saved in Evernote as images, you can just search on them, and you can find the stuff almost instantly. And there's even Moleskine has notebooks that are specifically designed for Evernote that allow you to put little stickers on. That the stickers, when you capture the image of the note, it automatically tags it for you. So you can attach tags to those stickers. It's pretty sweet, and I think amazing. I can't imagine how wonderful it would be for a journaler who has 8 years of notes that they've taken, captured in Evernote, to be able to search on 8 years of their handwritten documents. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's amazing.
Babs was asking how can you get hubbies to listen to webinars, so he'll start using Evernote.
How to get hubbies?
Hubby husbands to use Evernote. How can you get your husband to use Evernote? And Louise chimed in and said, have hubby listen to a webinar.
Oh, good. Okay, well, that's a good idea. I'm a hubby.
Hubbies can be stubborn.
Yes.
Do you keep pictures, backgrounds, GFs in Evernote?
I don't use. I don't keep a lot of images, photos in Evernote. To be fair, I think that the use case that was talked about earlier in social media is far more powerful than storing your personal images. When I look at a tool like what's happening with Google Photos and iPhoto, with facial recognition. Somebody asked the question about facial recognition. Evernote doesn't have facial recognition, but the facial recognition and the location recognition that is in something like Google Photos now makes it far more preferable for doing searches, for managing your photos in those sorts of images. But for created graphics and that, it would be a good hosting platform. What are you laughing at?
No, so Dudley says, I don't think I could survive without Evernote now. Sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat having dreamt that they pulled the app.
Dudley.
Okay. I have a hiking blog. Does anybody use Evernote to keep ideas for projects or save notes?
Yes, it's ideal for that sort of thing. That's at the end of the day, that's probably going to be its most valuable use for somebody like you.
I'm starting in my job to use Teamwork. Is Evernote the site called Teamwork?
I don't know for sure what the integration is, but a quick search, just type in Evernote. What was it? Teamwork integration,
yeah.
and you'll see what hooks are available.
All right. Let's see. Does this work finding photos or not a good photo storage? So
I don't think it's the best photo storage. It's certainly on the channel. I talk a lot about. I'm a big fan of Google Photos right now and what it does.
All right. I found out that Evernote finds text as well as in PDF, not only in JPEG. Is this a new feature?
No, it's a premium feature. It's one that with the paid version. I think it's a paid benefit, but it does find text. It will search within PDFs.
Does Evernote pick up facial recognition?
No.
Can you export from Evernote and import into OneNote?
Not easily. And it is the top of the hour. I see Ian post that. So anybody who has to leave, let me fill you in a little bit on what's happening. While I'm doing that, you dropped the link in for the course. Good. So if you do have to leave now, we'll stay on for another 20 minutes or so answering questions, if that's okay. But if you do have to leave now, thanks so much for your time. We will be sending out a replay with this by this evening. I'll get it out to you all. And so thank you all very much for joining us. Obviously, the Saturday webinar is a big hit, and I hope that this has given you pause to look at Evernote again from a fresh angle, or to kind of re-entrench your interest in it. April, thank you for that help. So anybody who has to leave right now, till next time, have fun storming the castle. Thanks, and for everybody else, let's keep going.
All right. Let's see. I found out that Evernote okay, we already read that one. Read that one. I read that one. Going up. How do we get the update if we have participated in Volume 1 or Evernote Made Easy?
Just drop us a note
at info@dototech, and I'll double check your email address. Want to create a newsletter link that can be a shared link for my business that I can change up monthly by just. It's not really a question, so sorry.
But that would work. What he said, we use Evernote often where we have, the course is an example where we've created the lessons, and then if somebody comes back and uses the same link, they see the most updated document.
All right. What do you mean when you talk about Evernote strength? You must have mentioned it earlier.
Evernote strength?
Yeah.
Well, I mean the things that it does best. Its strength is search. At the end of the day, if you talk about what the technological aspects of Evernote, its capture and search capabilities are the strength of it.
All right. Can you select multiple notes and attach the same tag to all at the same time?
Yep.
What are your favorite apps that work with Evernote?
Because we've got a lot of apps that are kind of just Evernote. I actually don't rely on Evernote working too closely with any other app. Gmail. I mean, that integration there would be the one that I value the most. Yeah.
All right. I have 10 notebooks and about 240 tags. Seems to work fine. Which system do you prefer?
I prefer tags.
Can you use business cards in Evernote?
Yes, Evernote will scan business cards. It will go through, parse out all the information, and save them as a contact for you.
I kind of feel like I'm giving you a test today.
Yes.
With all these questions. What is the easiest way to get multiple photos from my phone to Evernote?
I don't know.
And then it says, what about
save
emails?
them from the camera roll. I would just save them from the camera roll.
All right. And then it says, what about emails as well?
Yeah, emails. Brilliant. Yeah.
And then parentheses, wine bottle search speaks to me too.
Yes, it speaks to us all. Yes.
Is there a possibility to create tables and notes in Evernote mobile Evernote app?
Yeah, you can do tables. Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
tried to. Okay. All right. Sorry. We have a lot of questions.
Yes.
Just tried taking a picture of text on screen and paper, and Evernote did not pick it up. Are there types of surfaces that don't work well for Evernote to read?
Well, your photo might not take it up. Now, Evernote doesn't instantly OCR it. What happens is when you save a note with text and want to search on that text, it will, over hours or days, go through and do the conversion for text for search. It doesn't happen instantly.
How many notes can you save in Evernote?
I think it's unlimited. You're limited by the number of notebooks, but it's unlimited pretty much.
All right. Do you think Evernote is compliant with GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation in Europe?
I don't know.
Okay. Whenever, just a comment, whatever note I add on my iPad and phone, it's geotagged. Is that Farley? That's your dog barking
That's
today,
Farley.
not
That's Farley
mine.
barking in the background. Yeah, he's gotten all excited about something. It's an exciting day here in the Dotto household. Steve's about to cook spaghetti sauce.
Ooh. The client question. Let's see. Question about keeping items grouped so you can see the appropriate. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to go back to that question, Amy, because that question's way down and put it all together. Can we see more Saturday webinars? I'm working on Wednesdays.
I think we're going to try and do about one a month, but yes, it's good.
Do you use ScanSnap?
ScanSnap is an excellent scanner, and I did have one and used one for the longest time, but I don't need a physical scanner anymore. I just use Scannable on my mobile phone for all my scanning needs now.
Is Evernote effective for to-do lists?
Sure. Yeah, and you can have check marks and all that sort of stuff. I prefer to use my task and to-do list manager, which we use Asana in our team. But yes, it works really well. Here he is. There.
Hey, Farley. SMS to Evernote. Can you do SMS to Evernote text?
I don't think so. I've never tried. I don't think so, though.
That would be cool if you could, though.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can you combine two Evernote accounts?
I don't think so, but I would check Evernote FAQs for that.
Any hints on Evernote Web? I use Chromebook.
Oh, yeah. It works. Evernote is a cloud-based service, so all of your data lives in the cloud. So if you're using a Chromebook and you're using the web app, it should be just as fully featured as the desktop app.
When sending an email with an attachment to Evernote, sometimes the attachment is open under the email, and other times it remains in a pull-down. Is there a way to have them open? Them all open under the email?
That's beyond me. I don't know how Evernote parses that information. But Evernote has a wonderful support community, and that's the sort of thing that you can post there and you'll get an answer for.
Does Evernote work in French? I'm in the Republic of Quebec.
As far as I know.
All right. I have a dilemma, Evernote or OneNote. I know you talked about it earlier.
If I live in the Microsoft ecosphere, if I use Outlook for my email and calendaring, if I'm in Windows and I use Microsoft Office 360 as my main tool, I would look at OneNote and use OneNote.
Ron is asking, is there a Zapier connection to Evernote I could use to trigger automation? Yeah, there's a ton in there.
Yeah. Zapier probably has almost more connections to Evernote than anything.
And if they don't have it, you can always request it, which is kind of cool too. Do you use, you already mentioned that, it's just another.
Yes, there is a OneNote Clipper, Lolan. Yep. It's got most of the same features.
How do you compare with DevonLink?
DevonLink? I haven't used DevonLink, but I know a lot of people really love it that use it, and it's another option that's outside of the Microsoft and Evernote world. But yes, it's from what I understand, very good.
All right. Let's see. I use Evernote for my virtual assistant business, a different notebook for each client to track all the important info I need. Much easier than Trello.
Yes.
That was a question. Sorry. I'm just going back through the chat. My goodness, Dudley has 44,632 notes and rising.
Good for Dudley.
Is Scannable inside Evernote or is it a separate app?
Separate app, but it works very similar. Just the Evernote camera app itself is wonderful, and it does so many things that it'll capture different types of documents. It will allow you to send them. We were just it's so the Evernote camera app itself is very full featured. Scannable is just kind of a nice interface on top. And Scannable allows you to do things outside of it.
Excuse me. I prefer CardMinder that came with my ScanSnap for business cards. Do you think Evernote would be better?
I don't think it would be better. These sorts of things, if you already have a system that works, I wouldn't even bother looking for something else because you've got a system that works. Why waste the time? But if you're not really happy with your system or it costs money to continue with or they change things, then I think you'd be very happy with Evernote or Scannable for scanning in business cards.
All right, I think we are. If it's set up for a business and then I leave the business, what are the access parameters? Can they get to the stuff? Can I get to the stuff if I leave them?
Well, it's based on the account. It's based on your account. So if you have access to the account, you have access to it. If you don't have access to the account, no.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, Tracy does 10,000 notes and all started with one of our classes. Wow. David will be sending you a notice. You're asking how you get discounted courses. We'll be sending you a note. Once we're done here, I'll go through all the new patrons and we'll send you the details.
All right. I think that's a wrap.
And thank you for joining us, by the way. Thank you. We appreciate your support.
I think I have them all. I'm just double checking here.
Well, we've got I should do this right now because Ivan, Ed, Dr. Ed Gentis, Doug, David, thank you all so much those are our new patrons.
Oh, great. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate it so very much.
Hugs, virtual hugs.
So we will wrap things up. We're about 15 minutes past the hour. I'm starting to fade, and I've got to cook pasta for tonight.
Did you say pasta?
I'm not actually going to eat pasta. I'm going to eat spaghetti sauce on top of cauliflower. But
who calls it pasta? It's pasta. Pasta? I have never in my whole life heard somebody call it that. You're obviously not Italian. No.
I am Italian.
Pasta? Is that what they call that?
I don't know. Pasta? Pasta? Sorry. Okay. Why is this an issue? Have you ever tasted mine? It's really good.
No,
my Italian grandmother taught me how to cook it. And it's an all-day thing, and I'm way behind.
You definitely did not. You didn't invite me.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm not really keto, but pasta sits very heavily with me now. I don't deal well with really, really carby carbs.
So is pasta lighter? Crack myself up.
So how's the new job going to work out for you?
You'd miss me.
I would miss you. I would be lost without you, as your family probably is right now. Folks, to all our new patrons or patrons, thank you so much.
Got meme craziness cat stuff today. Sorry. This is what happens on Saturday. It's the end of the week, friends.
Yeah, blind. Yeah, there will be some later. Everybody, have a great Saturday. Thank you so much to all of our new patrons. Look for the replay coming out. We will. Don't forget. What are we doing webinar Wednesday this week? I don't even remember. It's have we even built it?
Yeah, we're doing Facebook group community.
Facebook group communities. So there'll be we'll send you an email. That'll be on Wednesday. Till I thank you all very much for your time. April, thank you so much for everything. Go take care of your sick husband and enjoy and congratulations on your daughter's award that she'll be receiving.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yes. And till next time, have fun storming the castle.
Bye, guys.